What's up, everybody? Welcome to Candid Truth. We're going to talk about the truth, and we're going to get candid with it. I'm here with my host, Aubrey. I call her host. We're both hosts. There's no co-host here. How you feeling tonight?
Good.
We just wanted to say a very special thank you to some people who have helped support this ministry and make it possible. Without you guys, we couldn't even be doing this. We stepped out about 3 months ago in faith, away from a steady paycheck. We used to work at a ministry that gave us a paycheck, and we felt the call to step out, start our own ministry, and it's been an exciting, scary ride to just trust that God's going to provide every month, and He does, and it's thanks to people like you. I want to thank Mary Ellen and Troy, and I got some other people on here. Let me see. We got Wendy, Cassidy, Brett, Jesse, and others that are on some different platforms. So if you would like to help fund this ministry and help support, you can do so by going to our different digital ways right here. We got Cash App at Candid Truth Official. We got Venmo at Mikey Jenny. That's my name. We got Zelle is executebrand@gmail.com. If you know my testimony, I used to have a clothing line called Execute. And these are just ways that you can support our ministry. We also have t-shirts on Teespring. There's a link in the description. Probably not at this moment. I need to add that. But you can go to candidtruth.org, click on the shop, and you can see some cool shirts we got. We actually have some cool stickers right now. These hologram Brain Man logos. And the truth will set you free. That's actually on a shirt and hoodies. And then we got the Brain Man from the They Live parody logo. If you guys put in the comments, let's see, what should they put in the comments? Demons in the Whitehouse. If you put that in the comments right now, the first few people that put that in the comments, I'll respond to and ask for your email address. When you send the email address, we'll send you a free sticker. I really like this one's one of my favorite ones. But we're going to get into this. Demons in the Whitehouse. Aubrey and I, by accident or by divine appointment, ended up in Washington, D.C., and so we took advantage of the situation and we took a little tour. And we took pictures and videos of everything we saw there and found out that this country was not founded on Christianity at all. It's so obvious. There's actually nothing Christian about it. I didn't see any even fake representation of like In God We Trust or any of this stuff when we were in Washington, D.C. What happened was we went on vacation to the Florida Keys, and on our way back, we got our flight in North Carolina to right before we went to Tennessee, got delayed 24 hours. We came back the next day. It got delayed, finally canceled. And they said, the only way we can get you back home is 2 days from now, and we have to fly you to Washington, D.C. So we're like, okay, we'll do what we got to do. Fly to Washington, D.C. We're there for 2 days. So I was like, well, let's make the best of it. Let's tour around and see what kind of stuff we can expose. By the way, American Airlines didn't pay for any of this stuff. We had to really go jump through some hoops to just get a little bit of compensation back for all the, mishaps that happened. Mm-hmm. But while we were there, we toured around, took videos, took pictures of all this stuff. And when we got back to the airport to fly back home, they flew us to the very same airport in North Carolina. Now, answer me this. If you're in North Carolina and they say we can get you back home in 2 days, why would they send us to Washington, D.C. to send us right back to the same airport 2 days later when they should have just put us in a hotel in North Carolina? This is why this was a divine appointment. We didn't want to be there. We would have never paid for a trip to go to Washington, D.C. Aubrey felt the presence of darkness the whole time. It was an odd feeling to be surrounded by all this pagan imagery that is right here where our country was founded. And you're about to have your mind blown. This is probably going to be close to 2 hours, just to give you a heads up. But we're going to leave no stone unturned. Actually, there are some things that we didn't include in here. I'm just now remembering we didn't even get to include a very important point. maybe we'll look at those pictures anyway somehow. But check this out. So we're going to look at when we first got there. And this is just a video to kind of show that we were there. These aren't just, we're not searching Google for images. We took all these pictures ourselves. And a lot of this stuff was like on the ceiling. When you zoom in, like you can't even really see this stuff with your naked eye. I can't read the writings that are on the ceiling, but you can zoom in with the iPhone, take a picture. But here we are. Candid truth coming at you with the truth. And look where we're at. Our nation's capital. In the shape of a dome for a reason. It's all about fertility. And if you see behind me, actually you can't see it because of the fog, but actually there it is. You can see it in the mist a little bit. That is the obelisk. Why do we have obelisks in America? It's based out of Egyptian, which before that Babylonian. These are fertility symbols. That's a phallic, and then the pregnant belly of the dome right there. Rome 2.0, somebody said. That's exactly right. We're going to get all into that. Yeah. So, what you got any thoughts to say?
No, I can just echo the response that I had the whole time I was there. I did not want to be there. I had a bad attitude. I'm sorry. I have no bad feelings against people who live in Washington, D.C., but it was the darkest feeling I've had. Yeah. And I quite honestly did not like it the whole time.
She didn't even want to go. I was like, come on, I think that if we go, we'll find some stuff that we can turn into a show. Like I was saying, I just really had to encourage her, like, let's get out of the hotel and let's just walk around. And we did. We spent the whole day. These things are far, like long walks. And we had to walk everywhere. And I'm glad we did it now because this really answered a lot of questions. I mean, there's a lot of people. So speaking of questions, look at this bus. This bus says Christian on the side of the bus, and it's telling you can go to a website to find out the Christian origins of our country. Check this out. This is the question we want to answer right now. Was our country founded by Christians? Find out about the faith of our founders. Yeah, we'll see when you go inside and look. There's nothing really Christian about what's inside. So I'm going to let you see some of their website here. This is their website. It says, the path to truth is clear. Learn the American story, find indisputable information, know and discern the truth. I wasn't sure what angle they were going with this. But when I started looking around, it says the founding fathers on Jesus, Christianity, and the Bible. And it says for decades, accusations. Now this is what they're saying, that atheists will say this country wasn't Christian. Accusations against the founding fathers have abounded. One of the common criticisms is that the founding fathers were a collective group of atheists. So this site is saying, we're going to prove to you that the founding fathers were in fact Christian and not atheists. They're trying to debunk the atheists who are saying that this country was not founded on religious freedom. Now here you see Aubrey about to present a very interesting symbol in this. What building was this?
This was the Library of Congress.
Library of Congress. What is that for anybody that doesn't know? I'm not exactly sure.
It houses all of the books, if I have the right understanding of kind of what our government is founded on, history books. But not only that, when you publish a book, you get I believe an ISBN number.
Oh, yeah.
That goes back to the Library of Congress to kind of track the books in the world. And that's as far as I got with my understanding of it.
Right. There's one thing that I love art. As an artist, I've always loved art. I have big, huge books of Michelangelo and all these guys. And there's tons of amazing art in there. But it's full of pagan and satanic symbols. And you're going to find out. So check this out. What we're seeing here as we zoom in, the all-seeing eye atop the pyramid. Now, a lot of people say, well, this is on the back of the dollar bill. It says Novus Ordo Seclorum, which means the new world order, a new order of a secular world. And why do we have a pyramid on our dollar? Why do we just accept these things like, oh yeah, that's the logo that's on our dollar. No, this stuff has Egyptian and pagan origins that have no reason to be on our dollar at all. Why America? Why do we have anything Egyptian on our money? This comes from the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra, and you see it says the Wadjet, I guess that's the term, meaning whole one, is a powerful symbol of protection in ancient Egypt, also known as the Eye of Horus and the all-seeing eye. So this isn't my, this isn't like my personal opinion. That's what that is, the all-seeing eye on the money. And so they're saying that the Eye of Horus, this is where this comes from. This is on Journey to Egypt website. So if you want to take a tour of Egypt, this is the type of information they're going to give you. There's no bias. There's no Christian conspiracy theory or anything here. Just the facts. Here we see the compass. And what is that? That's not the square. That's actually a triangle. But we have the compass. Again, the compass. This is all on the ceiling. Like my neck was hurting from just looking up so long.
Yeah.
And again, what is this?
Same thing.
That is the square, and what is that thing called? You actually
protractor?
No, this shovel thing.
Oh, the trowel. It's a mason's trowel.
A mason's trowel. Okay, so we have compass, square, and trowel. Where do we see these things? In masonry. We see, this is not a conspiracy theory. You go to freemason.org. This isn't a conspiracy website. This is the official website of the Freemasons. And they're proud to admit that George Washington, the very first president of this country, was a proud Freemason. 33-degree Freemason. You see him holding that trowel in his hand. And you see the compass, the square, and the all-seeing eye. Wait a minute. All these things are starting to make sense, right? The things that we just saw in the Library of Congress. Mm-hmm. Interesting. We noticed there was some interesting statues all around this place.
Yeah. They were all outside of the windows. They had this bust, from the chest up, showing certain heads. Certain people looked like they were from the Middle East with turbans on. Yeah. There were certain ones that looked like knights of Malta, if you will, or some kind of kingly noble men. And then there was another one that kind of looked like a pauper, kind of like you would think of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And there were just those three over and over again. They were different people, but they had basically that socioeconomic status throughout. And as you look at that, when you went inside, all of a sudden, you would see other busts inside of the window.
Right.
And they would have names. And did you have any pictures like that?
I don't have any of the pictures of the busts, but here on libraryofcongress.org or whatever this is the official website. I think it's interesting that the very first thing it says is 33 ethnological heads ornament the keystones of the first story windows. 33. Why 33? I mean, it's just, call me a conspiracy theorist, but we've already seen the all-seeing eye. We've already seen the square and compass. We've already seen the trowel. We've already seen that the first president was an open Freemason. So I don't think it's any coincidence that there's number 33 statues on this building. There is 33 degrees of Freemasonry. When you climb up the ladder of Freemasonry, you'll get to the 33rd degree, which is known to be the highest degree, but I believe there's more outside of what normal people understand. But you can even go and look this stuff up. It says, what is a 33-degree Mason? A 33-degree Mason is a master Mason who has been honored with the highest degree in the Scottish Rite. And you can choose to read the rest of it yourself, but 33 is a very important number in Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
Notice also, this comes from MasonicVibes.com, and notice what that number 33 is on. What is that a statue of? It is the double-headed phoenix, which we'll see more of and where that actually originates from.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the chat says Billy Graham was a Freemason too. That's right. I've actually seen it admitted on some Freemason websites. These people are proud to tell you who was a Freemason. It's not a conspiracy theory. A lot of these people are proud to be Freemasons. They don't think there's anything sinister about being a part of this club. So, what's up with King Neptune?
Neptune is... I'm just thinking back to the presentation I did on Aquaman. Aquaman, the whole movie is about Neptune.
Yeah.
And the underworld, basically, that he's dealing with of the comic type of mythology, basically. And he has what is the thing called?
Trident.
The trident most all the time. And
which we see, in these pictures of Satan holding.
Yeah.
Satan doesn't look like that, but Pan did. There were other Greek and Roman gods that held this trident too.
Right. But as far as that goes, that's what comes to mind. We know that that's pagan, of course. We know that it's really strange to see because that's where the courtyard, before you even get to
that's
the Library of
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Like, where was this? Why does King Neptune have any significance to where we were at in Washington, D.C.?
Well, right before you get up to the Library of Congress, it's not exactly right before, but you see this huge, like you were showing, it's this entire beautiful pool that's been made. And there's people sitting on fishes, large fishes. The guy, King Neptune's in the middle. And there's women everyone's naked in the picture, but there are two women on either side end fishes. And they look like they're quite honestly in ecstasy, almost like a sexual ecstasy. And this is quite a few feet before you go up the stairs next to it, and you walk through this courtyard all the way up to the Library of Congress. And that is their opening. That's their opening scene to you, seeing what their country is about.
Yeah.
And what is to come, I guess.
Yeah, so why don't you read that for us? By the way, this is from loc.gov, which means Library of Congress. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is straight from the horse's mouth. If you want to look up, if you're about to tour Washington, D.C., and you want to find out what you can see at the Library of Congress, you go to loc.gov. So this is like the first page. They're talking about King Neptune. Why?
Well, it says, at the front of the building is the Neptune fountain showing King Neptune, the Roman god of the sea.
Wait, the what god?
The Roman.
The Roman god. Okay.
And the brother of Minerva and his court. The figures were sculpted by Roland Hinton Perry.
Okay. So first of all, I want to know, why do we have Roman gods outside of a country that's supposedly founded on Christianity? Already, we haven't even got... This is not even the tip of the iceberg of this documentary, this presentation right now. Outside, why isn't there a Ten Commandments? I'm all about separation of church and state, but what I'm saying is, if this is a country founded on Christianity, and we have any gods whatsoever, why is it not the Ten Commandments? Why is it not Moses? Why is it not a cross or Jesus or the disciples or something? No, it's a Roman god, King Neptune. All right. So we saw this thing firsthand, and this is what it looked like. So you see right there this giant sculpture that's bigger than I am, and all these other naked people riding these different sea creatures. Why? Why is this outside of our U.S. Capitol? So
a lot of people think that our country was founded on Christianity. Why do we have Hercules, Zeus, Apollo, Venus. These are false gods. These are not Christian gods.
So right there, we just showed it. They literally have the names of false gods, Roman, Greek, pagan gods on the roof of their ceiling. On the ceiling. Why? Why are we not seeing Yahweh, Ten Commandments, Moses?
Well, the only thing I could think as we went through each part of the Library of Congress was each of these things are a clue.
Yeah.
And each of them are clues as to at least who contributed to the building of this country and their memorializing of them.
Right. We build sculptures in allegiance to people. Like there's sculpture, we got Mount Rushmore, and you have all these presidents memorialized in stone. You have popes and all these things that are more. Statues are about giving your allegiance to or memorializing people in some way, and yet we have false gods. Images. This is the second commandment, right? Have no other gods before me, or maybe it's the third commandment, make no images before me. So it's keep God first, make no images. Yeah, number 2. We should not be having images in a Christian nation of false gods. There's just no way around it. So in Exodus 23:13 it says, "And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth." Now this is not saying like, hey, we're reading this presentation and we're condemned for saying it. It's saying when you're saying these names, like we're exposing Satan. There's many times when people of God said there's no power in Baal. They would say the names of these gods. But when you speak these gods' names, you are inviting, it's an invitation for the enemy. If you're saying, oh man, I wish I could get help from Apollo or something, like you are telling the spirit world, you're giving them permission, oh, I'll appear as that God, because Satan appears as many different things. He's a shapeshifter, he's an angel of light, he's a serpent in the garden, he's an alien, whatever you want him to be. He's an ascended master if you're a New Ager. You're a dead loved one. Satan doesn't come out monstrous. He comes out as beings of light and intelligent and these false gods. All the people that worship false gods in the Bible were literally worshiping demons, hands down. There's no other way to say it. That's what they were doing. The Bible clearly says it in some verses. So let no mention of their names, and yet we just see them engraved in the ceiling of our United States Capitol. So let's check this clip out.
Colosseum, where they killed Christians. In Rome. At the Parthenon, where there's a 40-foot goddess. Yeah, this is not Christianity.
So I have a question. Why would we have Colosseum written on the top of our building?
Do you want to know why it usually is in Freemasonry and in the Illuminati?
Why is that?
Because those are key moments to them that are special. Events which mark the dawning usually of progress.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in the trajectory they want it to go. But they'll tell you usually that it marks a different event. There's a pseudo event in which they put out in the history books.
No.
And then there's an actual event usually. But when you look at this, there's another thing they do, which is confusing to people. Sometimes they don't change the event at all. They just have it in there as though it was a somber event that people are supposed to be like, "Aw, poor Christians."
Like, remember 9/11.
Yeah, exactly. Poor things. But then they're like, yes, the tarot cards said so. We followed it. We followed exactly the signs of the stars.
Wow.
And we did exactly what Satan told us to do. Our mission is progressing forward and we are victorious. We are winning.
Wow. And we're going to memorialize that event in brass or whatever it is engraved on the ceiling.
So it doesn't have to be events. It can be just people that came on the scene that had a huge effect on society towards getting everyone to move that direction as well.
All right. So let's check out the next clip here. So this is the map of Washington, D.C. And if you Google Earth, I put the Whitehouse. That's what that is down there. You can use a tool to draw and follow the streets, and you get an inverted pentagram pointing right to the White House. Mm-hmm. Actually, if you follow this line here, you start to have the actual circle that goes around the pentagram. These last two lines are the only lines that are missing from an inverted pentagram. When you talk about blocks on a street, blocks are square. These are blocks. They're blocks. And my dad said he remembered when he went to Washington, D.C., he's like, man, what in the world? These roads are so crazy, because you'll be driving this long road, and then all of a sudden you have to make this, like, I don't even know what kind of degrees. This is 75-degree angle turn to go this way. This makes no sense. This is an architect's nightmare, a postman's nightmare. These angles on a street make absolutely no sense unless you're a Satanist and you want to make this huge representation to the God that you serve in the city here.
Not just that. Usually you use a pentagram upside down or upright to cast spells.
Yeah.
To put hexes,
wow, yeah.
To use magic.
That's true.
And Satan's power and conjuring demons up for your use.
Exactly.
And if it's going straight to the White House, it's like, let's point this straight towards where we want it to be used from.
The leaders of this nation casting spells and using this huge pentagram.
Yes. And we're going to see, I hope it's in there, but it's not just that star, the pentagram that's inverted.
Okay.
There is the owl.
Oh, yeah. That's the next slide, actually.
Okay, good.
So this is something that they post these signs up. Like, this isn't even me, like, using Google Earth and trying to draw, like, ooh, it kind of looks like an owl. They're showing you. Mm-hmm. Like, it says this, you are here, and you're on this part. And they highlight the owl in yellow.
The White House, right? Or what is that in the middle?
That's a good question. I can't actually see that small.
Okay. But that's what connects. When I looked at it, there was the inverted pentagram. Then there was the owl.
I do see these crazy diagonal streets.
Yep.
That should not.
And then they have a pyramid as well.
Oh, yeah.
In the map. You can point out so many, at least those symbols in the layout of the map.
Yeah.
That's already a cult. It's incredible.
So, an owl. What's so significant or sinister about an owl?
It is, let's see if I have that correctly. It was the symbol of Ishtar for wisdom, fertility. And it really just, if you see that, you usually can tell that someone is trying to get wisdom. Like, think of Bohemian Grove, right?
That's what I was thinking. That's
okay.
Moloch.
Yes. So you have, well, Ishtar's the same as Baal, and Baal is the same as Moloch.
All these things, they're so intertwined. You look up, like, there's this Roman god who actually became this Greek god. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's always these weird connections like that, evolutions of these gods.
Exactly. And so when you see that, you can see that there is this progression that's happening where you put an owl in there, and it's like, this is their meeting area.
Yeah.
This is where they are going to try to find their kind of truth. When they said find truth, again, we're going to see what kind of truth they're talking about. And it's pretty amazing.
These are very humanistic people, not just pagan and satanic, but it's all about man can do it on his own. It's all about man's knowledge, not God, not submitting to God in any kind of way. It's all about humanism.
But through the rituals even that they do at Bohemian Grove, you have this desire to get closer to the one, whatever the creator or the universe is. It can be anything. But to open the third eye, basically to find truth through yourself.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say so far about it.
Well, let's keep going because there's so much to cover. So let me full screen this because this is a clip.
So this is the Ouroboros right there, the serpent biting his own tail.
Of the Ouroboros. I hope you can see it. This is a hand holding some kind of staff or dagger or something. And this right here is what I want you to pay attention to. This circle this is the snake's head. He's biting his own tail. Well, who cares? What does that symbol mean?
Wrapped around the arm there too.
Yeah, wrapped around this guy's arm. Who cares? What is that? The Ouroboros is an ancient symbol. It says the serpent. It says the serpent Ouroboros surrounding a circle with lettering in Latin and Hebrew, pen and watercolor drawing. So it's describing this graphic back here. And it says the Black Book, a source book for spells in the black arts, was the textbook of the black school at Wittenberg, Germany, purportedly where witches and sorcerers went to learn black magic.
Oh,
Can
okay.
you go to the next one, or
No, I want to comment.
Okay.
Because Germany... All right, if you don't already know this, please go watch Walter Weiss stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Total
Onslaught.
He covers some of this as well. Not in the fashion we're covering it, but you have the connection to Germany that's huge. Not just from Hitler and the Black Sun cult, which is really what Nazism is.
Yeah.
And the Romans were truly
and the
worshiping.
Nazis started NASA, for all you NASA fans out there.
Right.
Werner von Braun, all that. Look it up.
But you have what's called a Black Pope, and he's the one pulling out all the puppet strings in the world. He controls the White Pope, which is in the Vatican.
Yeah.
And he tells the movie stars what to do.
Jesuit theater.
Yes, he gives all the predictive programming. He tells even the politicians what move to make next.
Wow.
The Black Pope lives in Germany.
Wow.
He is always hidden out there.
Very interesting.
Germany is huge in this, and I'm not saying that. I come from a German
I lived in
lineage.
Germany. Yeah, my mom was born in Germany.
So I'm not condemning any Germans out there. I'm just saying that it has a dark past in these things. It's truly stemming from some of this.
Well, it's just like we're not against Catholics. There are many sincere Catholics that are in that church, but the Catholic Church as a whole is a corrupt system. And if there's any Catholics watching, this is your first time hearing this, there is so much evidence on this where the Roman Catholic Church came out of pagan Rome when Constantine supposedly had a conversion and said he saw a red cross in the sky and started painting it on the shields of his soldiers. And he went from killing Christians, but he couldn't kill them because every time he'd kill one, 10 more would pop up. So if you can't beat them, join them, right? So he said, you know what? You actually can go to church, but it has to be on the venerable day of the sun. And if you get caught Judaizing, which meant keeping the Sabbath or the fourth commandment, you will be killed. All shops must be closed on the venerable day of the sun, and you must go to the church in this temple that has all these pagan idols. Oh no, they're not pagan idols. Mars, that's actually Peter and Paul and all these things. And that's what you see in the Catholic Church today, as well as a lot of sun motifs, sun symbolism, IHS. We're going to get into some of that. But the Catholic Church goes completely against Christianity 101. Jesus said, call no man father but your Father in heaven. Yet people call the Pope the Holy Father, or the priest Holy Father. They say he has the power to forgive sins. That's blasphemy according to the Bible. There's so many ways that the Catholic Church is not Christian, but is also the first beast of Revelation according to Daniel. These visions of these beasts. He was the fourth beast that popped up with iron teeth, and the first beast in Revelation. We're going to actually cover some of that here. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Just to kind of make a case that's closed on Sol Invictus, which is actually the unconquerable sun that Constantine saw when he looked up at the sky. The god that he was following is called Sol Invictus.
Okay. I've heard of that. Sol Invictus, is the sun god?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get back to this Ouroboros thing, because the next slide tells us that the Ouroboros, emblematic serpent of ancient Egypt. Here we go again, a connection to Egypt. America is connected to Babylon, Egypt, and Rome. And really, when you look at the prophetic timeline of history, these are all the worst, the most ungodly, godless kingdoms. Not godless, they had their own gods, but godless kingdoms of history.
The true God, yeah.
Yeah, when you read the Bible, it says, don't be like the Egyptians, come out of Babylon, all these things. And Rome, the Romans killed Christ. So ancient Egypt and Greece, also the Greeks, represented with its tail in its mouth, continually devouring itself and being reborn from itself. Not reborn in Christ, but another counterfeit, reborn in itself, from itself. A Gnostic. If you don't know what Gnosticism is, it's the inversion of the Bible, where it's Luciferianism, where Satan was the serpent in the garden that freed Adam and Eve because he told them that God didn't want them to have knowledge. And so we're going to see a lot more of this, where the serpent told Adam and Eve, God doesn't want you to have knowledge. If you eat this fruit, you'll be wise and be as gods. And we're going to see a lot of this Gnostic stuff in the White House or in the Library of Congress here. A Gnostic and alchemical symbol. That's alchemy is a combination of science and sorcery, black magic all the way. Ouroboros expresses the unity of all things, material and spiritual, which never disappear but perpetually change form in an eternal cycle of destruction and recreation. That's interesting when I think about these false gods. They never go away. They just change form. They're reborn. You know, it's always this Roman god turns into this Greek god, turns into this superhero now.
Which strikes me as the definition we usually hear of insanity, right?
Oh, yeah. Which is to do the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah.
Satan is insane.
Yeah.
But the sad part is he's actually gaining ground. He's deceiving the whole world. The Bible says that the dragon will deceive the entire world. Not a little bit, not some people, not everybody, but the Christians, the whole world. And the more I look into history and look into these occult origins, I'm like, wow, man. We have people idolize superheroes that are based on Greek and Roman gods. People are going to church on the Venerable Day of the Sun. People are, thinking this is a Christian nation when there's literally nothing Christian about it. People are keeping holidays that have origins in sun worship. And literally, Satan is deceiving the entire world. It's really crazy. So let's move on to the next slide. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Gnosticism. This was on the ceiling, way up there. Like you can barely see it with your naked eye. You can kind of tell what it is, but when you zoom in with the camera, what is in the picture here?
Well, did you want me to answer that?
Sure. What's in the picture here?
It's a tree with a serpent.
That is a
spiraling
serpent.
Down next to the man. He's pulling some fruit off of that tree. So it would appear that is the tree of good and evil.
And it has this word, non-solus. So I looked it up, translated non-solus from the Latin to English, and it says not alone. Why is he not alone? He looks like he's alone. I don't see anyone else around. He's not alone because he's right there in the garden with Satan. And he's taking from the tree of knowledge. This is not a conspiracy theory. These people believe in the knowledge that comes from this tree, and they don't even hide it. It says right here, this is from that word, the word that's underneath him. Let me see if I can go back here. Notice this word, Elzever. Elzever. Okay, now look. Now here it is on elzevier.com. And it says, what does non-solus mean? They're talking about it. Now look at the logo. There's something different here. Something has changed about the modern logo. Why? Where has the serpent gone? This is now a grapevine instead of a serpent. But this picture was not found on the internet. It's not photoshopped. I took it myself in the Library of Congress.
Yes, and then it hit me, quite honestly, just a few minutes before we were putting this together, that this was on, I've written tons of academic articles, theses, dissertations, well, not just myself, but I've helped other people.
Mhm.
And one of the academic sources you are forced to use is a scientific, peer-reviewed library of archives that is called Elsevier, which is this website that he has here in the orange. Has the orange and the modified tree.
That is crazy. So here, I was looking up, what's the story behind the tree? It says, this is not my own interpretation. What's the story behind the tree? It says, ever wondered what non solus means? Blah, blah, blah. I want you to get down to this part where it says, although most scholars agree that the elm represents the tree of knowledge. Look, I'm not just saying this serpent in a tree is the tree of knowledge, like it clearly is, but they admit it themselves, the tree of knowledge. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with knowledge? The tree of knowledge was the forbidden tree in the Garden of Eden that God said, eat of everything except for this one tree, and the serpent deceived Eve into not trusting God, into distrusting God, eating that fruit, and that's the very reason why we are in such pain and misery and in this sin-fallen world.
I'll just add to that one quick thing.
Okay.
The way that they even put non-solus, not alone, means almost in the back of their understanding that when Christ or Jesus created us, we were left alone. He was almost a incompassionate person.
Yeah.
He wasn't in our lives. He didn't care. And then all of a sudden, the snake came along.
The snake will be your companion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a Gnostic take on that.
It is. And we saw that they had the Ouroboros, which was Gnosticism. We just saw that back here. Look. So we're building a case here. This Gnostic Ouroboros that is a Gnostic symbol. Now you have the tree in the garden, which is not alone, and they're telling you it's the tree of knowledge. Now look at this interesting logo. What do we have here? It's a dragon. It's a serpent-like dragon, again, around a tree. Now, some people actually believe from different sources of reading that the serpent in the garden wasn't really just a snake. It was this beautiful dragon-like serpent that was very wise and beautiful and colorful and spoke in music and all these things. And here we have the dragon at the tree. And this word that's at the bottom that says fratres de sabio means the wise brothers. Again, associating the serpent and the tree with wisdom or knowledge.
Which completely kind of tips its head to fraternities.
Yes.
Fratres means fraternity.
Yep. It says it right there.
So when we actually look at sororities and fraternities and pledging and all this stuff.
Secret societies.
Exactly. All you're doing is entering into a secret society yourself, which is a stepping stone into a higher, more levels of usually a secret society further on.
Yep. Skull and Bones is a fraternity, secret society that Bush and John Kerry and all those guys were in.
But you get privileges, of course, for being in that.
Yeah. So then there was some portraits of different things. One of them was chemistry. And I want you to notice again, chemistry, you have this serpent. For one, there's this woman that looks very witchy, a gypsy type woman. And you see this serpent with his mouth open, blowing a smoke into this beaker, the scientific beaker here. I think it's very interesting. It's like she's, again, asking the snake for knowledge about chemistry and science.
Yeah.
Then there was this interesting picture. Erotica. For anybody that doesn't know what the word erotica means, I just put the definition here. It says literature or art intended to arouse sexual desires.
So it's eroticism.
Yeah, why do we have... I mean, what I've seen so far, and just what we've done so far, I've seen that this country is founded on humanism, Egypt and Babylon, and Gnosticism, and sex.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what the phallus is all about, the dome and the phallus, right?
Yeah.
It's all about fertility, paganism, and sexual desires. I have yet to see anything Christian. I'm waiting to see where's the Christian imagery here. So Minerva, who is Minerva? There was this is the picture. We took both these pictures, but this is a picture we took of this giant thing. This is a rail of a stairwell. This thing is 20 feet tall.
But this was different. Why do I say that? Because you have tons of leading balconies up to these places in the ceiling, which we were reading, right?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of told a story of who helped in the establishment of the government and had specific skills and tools that were used.
Ideas or
all of a sudden, leading up, this was a staircase specifically leading up to the middle of the Library of Congress. As though this was one of the leading god of gods that they are venerating.
That's true.
Or celebrating. They're worshiping it higher than others as though they were not as powerful.
So this thing that I'm holding in my hand, that's my hand, this is I don't know if it's a flag or a bag. I think it was a bag.
That was a handbag.
A handbag. It says Minerva on there. I'm not just saying, hey, this kind of looks like Minerva, this, Caesar-looking guy. By the way, Minerva is a woman. I didn't realize that until I did the research here. But again, these are close-ups of this mosaic. It's beautiful. I mean, this thing has stones, different color stones. It took a lot of money and a lot of time to put this masterpiece in this building. But again, we have the owl, the Bohemian Grove Moloch owl. And you found something interesting about the things that are on this scroll. What did you think about this?
So just as patterned after the ceiling, they had certain alcoves within the ceiling. One of them was not just how academics contributed to getting our country where it is today, but then they had like he showed these goddesses or images of women or Pan even or whatever gods with their perspective academic studies like chemistry or alchemy and
erotica.
They even had theology in there, which was really interesting. But what you'll find is that they have another area where, and I don't know if we put it in there, but they have actual Islam, Allah, Buddha, Confucius. And they have, like he's saying, then you have areas that factually state Rome, Pompeii, I forget what other ones, but you have so it was like academic studies, which have led people to where they were, different gods and pagan goddesses that have led us to where we are, kind of like the tools and weapons that they're using against us to indoctrinate us into what we become and where we're going.
Arts, sciences, you're talking about movies, games, television, magazines, sciences, you got evolution, you got Greek mythology, all these things that are literally taught in these schools that we're forced to go to by law. If you don't go to school, the government will show up at your house and say your child isn't in school. We'll arrest you. And what are you taught in school? Humanism, secularism, how to be a good slave, Greek mythology, and evolution. That there is no God.
Now, it was in the pictures, although we couldn't use every picture. But they had one picture that you just looked at with the Ouroboros, and it had Jaggard was the last name on there. This is one of the contributors, usually either financially again or in knowledge, or something they were willing to give to further the cause. There was another one on there that was Pestalozzi.
Pestalozzi,
and I looked that up today. Pestalozzi was a man from Zurich, Switzerland, who actually founded the way in which we do colleges, schools, and teach children to start them out young. As under the cover of No Child Left Behind. To indoctrinate them into what we now know today as most of the starting doctrines of Gnosticism.
Wow.
And so he was also a Freemason. His symbol was there. In fact, he was a part of the Illuminati as well. And so it's amazing because...
These were openly admitted on...
Yes, all you have is this amazing symbol that they have there. Like you said, with the Ouroboros or the trees and all this stuff. And then a nameplate, which states so almost without recognition, just a name that stands there.
Wow.
And then if you don't get curious about it, you don't look it up, it just kind of goes, whatever.
Yeah.
In fact, so many people seem so happy to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Just taking
Sure.
pictures,
Oh,
it's like a palace. Oh my goodness. And
we were the only ones that were like, look at this. Oh my goodness.
yeah, we're like, And so I started looking up all the names I was seeing, and yet they even had Waldo Emerson. So you even see writers in which they have purposefully chosen to lead the world at that time into the era and the space, the headspace they want you to be in.
Wow.
They have been chosen for their time and place. And God has us. He's chosen us for a time and a place.
Amen.
And a purpose.
Yeah.
And yet they have every step, every motion, every decision, every person put in place just to carry out their mission. It's Satan in a chess game against God.
Yep.
He's trying to win. But it was incredible because you truly can trace that all back. And how this goes back to Minerva is they had all of this on the ceiling everywhere. And then when you got to Minerva up there, before you entered into the actual Library of Congress, the doors, you saw Minerva and this scroll. And on that scroll is listed all of those things.
Yeah. History.
So you have agriculture, education, mechanics, commerce, government, history, I'm right there. Can you read that?
Astronomy, geography, statistics, economics, painting, sculpting, architecture. Some of this is covered up. Botany, medicine. So yeah, these are Army, Navy. I mean,
yeah, don't forget to read those ones.
Treaties, finance, art of war.
Navy, Army, finance, and the art of war.
Wow.
And that kind of sums it all up. These are the tactics that Satan is using against us and that our government is using exactly against us.
Yep.
To confuse us, for one, teach us different things than we know from our churches and from all this stuff into their army, into their camp of kind of mindless serving machines.
Yeah. And when God knocks the blinders off your eyes and you can see all this stuff, you'll realize all these wars and rumors of wars and all this stuff. Look, these are the leaders of the world get together at the United Nations. Mm-hmm. They're gathering together and planning all this stuff. They want to create a one world system, one world government, all that stuff. So people that are signing up for these things, I have respect for people that want to fight for freedom and all that stuff. But just like being involved in the wrong church or whatever, like we've been duped, we've been trapped, we've been snared by the enemy, deceived by the god of this world, which is Satan, the dragon.
And if I remember correctly, Minerva is the goddess of war.
Yes.
So she is meant to wield all of these powers and different practices and disciplines in her very attack on people. That is how she does it.
Amen.
And the other thing, that I was going to add is that we need to be careful what we put in our minds and allow in. There was an inscription, which he's going to point out now as well underneath it. It says, Nil invita Minerva quae monumentum ere perennius exigit. And that means no invitation of Minerva thought a monument in the air perpetually. When I looked at it deeper, it did not just mean that. It actually meant nothing that is done is not of Minerva's will. That was in the actual, when you actually find someone who knows the language, they were able to break it down like that.
So who is Minerva? Right. I mean, the very first word, Roman goddess. Again, all roads lead to Rome. We keep seeing, I was told that this country, and maybe some of it is true, but I was told that this country was founded on people who were escaping the persecution of Rome, escaping the papacy, the Roman Empire, and found this country on religious freedom so that we could worship God to our own conscience and not be killed and all that stuff. But yet you go to our nation's capital and this building is full of Roman gods,
Which
gods
is,
of war.
it's just incredible because when you do talk about it that way, the first fleeing from Europe to not have religious persecution was actually, that was their prototype of how to indoctrinate the world. It was force.
Yeah.
Forced down your throat, forced in every way. And then they went, okay, that didn't work. So now they're coming over to what they call Americas, the new world.
Yeah.
The new world.
Yeah.
And they went ahead and said, we're going to slowly cook these people, basically, into our way of thinking, in our direction. So it's the same direction that they're wanting. It's the same motive and result that they're trying to get, but they're just trying to do it just the sweetest way that they can, so you don't even get wise to it.
Yep. Satan's had thousands of years to master his deception. And now it's like, okay, force doesn't work because people will either fight against it or they'll surrender their life to God. They'll see right through the deception. So now I'm going to make a system that's all about the illusion of freedom. Oh, you get to choose your slave master.
Yeah.
You're gonna work at the grocery store or the restaurant, or you're gonna work somewhere though, because this whole system has to keep going. The Industrial Revolution, you cannot live off grid. You can't. If you're buying a house, you have to pay property tax every year. If you're buying land, property tax. You can't just go in the woods and set up a tent or build a cabin and think you're gonna live there. It's not. Somebody owns that. It's a system where you must be a good slave, and you're going to pick your slave master. Oh, you don't like the leadership? Well, why don't you vote in the next 4 years? Maybe you'll get a chance to get your vote. And that's how they do it with the pendulum swing. The agenda is the same. It's two wings of the same feather, right wing, left wing.
That is
both
why
the same.
you have the double-breasted eagle, I believe.
Yeah.
Because both come from the same, they are of the same flock, or the birds of a feather, and they're just two heads that look different directions, which is the duality you see in most gods and goddesses. They have one face that looks friendly and nice, while the other is like a demon. Yeah. And because they're showing it is demonology. It's not just mythology. Yeah. When you truly get underneath it, it is demonology that they're preaching.
Yeah, when you have a king or a pope, eventually people get so angry that they cause an uprising and overturn that thing. But when you feel like, no, we might win this year, they say, okay, we've ticked off the left. Now we're gonna give them their leader for 4 years. Oh, and we're gonna keep doing our agenda. Oh, there's something you didn't like. Okay, we'll take that away. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They'll go about their agenda until people get mad and say, okay, we'll pull that thing away, while they're instituting 2 other rules that are taking away your freedoms. It's all a patience game. These people have mastered the art of war, the chess game, because they're under the rule of Satan.
And the Black Pope makes sure that only his people are in office, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
His chess pieces are all in place.
It's only Democrat or Republican. You're never going to get a third party or anything like that.
They speak the same language. They're usually of the same brotherhood.
Yep.
Not necessarily the same fraternity. You can have skull and crossbones with someone of the Bohemian Grove or whatever. But behind Freemasonry and the Illuminati, you might come from a different secret society, but you're of the same brotherhood of the world.
Yeah. You're still hiding in the shadows.
When that happens, you have what is called exactly that, the Hegelian dialectic of when you're making people think that they have the choice. But like I said, the Black Pope is pulling the strings, and basically he's walking you towards his agenda. Oh, so they don't like that option. Well, both of my men are of the New World Order. Yeah. And they will be my advocates for this going forward, no matter what it takes.
Oh, man, we just made a lot of Trump fans mad with that. But that's the thing. You don't get to that level. You don't get to be a president. You don't get to be the richest dude in the world unless you join the club. Yep. And it doesn't matter. Nothing's ever changed. I know people that say, I vote Republican because I'm anti-abortion. Well, guess what? Abortion's always been legal our entire lifetime. It doesn't matter if there's a Republican in there. Nothing changes. It's the illusion of freedom of choice.
In fact, and I'm sorry, but one of their other cards or weapons, if you want to put it, of indoctrination and creating this hostility and polarization that was up on that ceiling was politics itself.
Wow.
God did not create politics at all. They
Yep.
did.
Yeah.
Because when you do have division and you have people being polarized one direction or another to fight each other, you have exactly the control of the masses to make those baby steps towards pulling the strings to getting them to the finishing line where you want them to be.
Yep. It's deception all the way. So Minerva is a Roman goddess. Again, all roads lead to Rome. Minerva is a Roman religion, or in Roman religion, the goddess of handicrafts, the professions, the arts, and later war. So she's the goddess of war. Identified with Greek Athena, some scholars believe that the cult was that of Athena introduced at Rome. So I was trying to see if there was any sun worship in here. It doesn't really look like it, but there was a big sun motif behind the painting of her. So let's check out this interesting monument. Here we are, Washington, D.C., the obelisk, the towering obelisk. Why do we have an obelisk in America? Do you know?
I do. But we're going to find out.
Wow. We are going to find out. What is an obelisk? Well, according to Egypt Tours, again, not a Christian website, they're saying that the obelisk originated during the early dynasty period of ancient Egypt. Again, Egypt. We got the all-seeing eye. We got the Ouroboros. We got the obelisk. Serves as a monumental reminder of the civilization's forgotten glory. Crafted from a single piece of granite. It was the architectural innovation designed to commemorate rulers and events and honor ancient gods, particularly who? The sun god, Amun.
Or Ra.
It symbolizes the unity of existence and the journey of the sun god Ra, and was considered a symbol of victory, achievement, and the pursuit of greatness. Look, why do we have an obelisk that is a monument to the sun god Ra? The obelisk design, a stone pillar tapering to a pyramid top, was intended to pierce the sky, aligning with the Egyptians' astronomical observations of the solar worship. So again, the sun god, solar worship.
That's, by the way, I don't think we would be really caring about solstices and equinoxes, which is really what, when the sun hits it in certain times of the year, it has certain different shadows which it casts.
Like a sundial?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is why we have obelisks. They are to actually plan out the sun wheel of the year, the Wiccan sun wheel, by the way, which governs our holidays. And
all the holidays are about the solstices.
yes, we wouldn't even care about this, like I said, at all if we were a Christian nation.
Yeah.
So why is that so important at the Capitol, in the Vatican courtyard? They have several of these across the world. Did you know that?
The obelisks? Oh,
yeah. They've moved them from Egypt most of the time,
yeah.
directly from Egypt or Babylonian centers of worship, and have them moved straight to areas of the United States.
Yeah, and Rome.
Yeah.
There was something, I can't remember what I was going to say about it, but, the pagan holidays, the holidays that we all know and most of us celebrate unaware, they all point to sun worship.
Yeah.
And they've been veiled, just like the Catholic Church has veiled Catholicism and Christianity with Sunday instead of Sabbath, and these pagan idols are really apostles and all that. You have Christmas, Christ Mass, which is not the birth of Christ, but is actually about sun worship. That's what the evergreen tree is all about. The tree that never dies in winter is a promise that the sun will return. Easter, Ishtar.
Oh, and it's not S-O-N, by the way, that the sun will return.
Yes, exactly.
It is S-U-N.
Yep.
So,
perfect counterfeit.
Yeah.
So here we see more about serving as a religious monument. The obelisk was associated with the Bennu bird. It says symbolizing renewal and the cyclical nature of life.
A precursor to the Greek phoenix.
Yep, the rising phoenix, the phoenix out of the ashes. That's the same as the Ouroboros. It's the resurrection, but not from Christ. It's a humanistic form, or the sun. It's the power of the sun.
And I'll just add right there that I've seen quite a few Christians try to go ahead and substantiate why they are getting tattoos of the phoenix or double-breasted eagle on them. And they claim that it is the very symbol of Christ being resurrected, basically coming back to life and setting us free. I don't know how that came to be a parallel that is said to be true, but we found a picture even depicting that.
Of the tattoo?
No.
Oh.
In the very ceiling of the Library of Congress.
Oh, yeah.
They had that double-breasted eagle.
Trying to make it look like a Christian symbol.
And the cross. Yeah, right there. So it has long been thought to be the same symbol or to be Christian in that way, but that's not true, and that's how they overlapped it to make you think that it was.
The dragon deceiving the world. Obelisks were admired and adopted by various cultures worldwide, with many being transported to Rome during the Roman Empire. Again, it's Egypt, but it's also Rome. Today, obelisks can be found in different parts of the world, standing as testaments to the ancient Egyptians' architecture genius and spiritual beliefs. Oh, wow. That's why we have it. And so we have a question in the chat. It says, so are you saying that the founding fathers of America were demonic? I believe they were not Christian.
They were definitely under the influence of demonic influence, I guess is all I can say.
May have very well been deceived, but that's what deception's all about. That's why many Catholics are involved in that system, because they're deceived. So we're going to get to this prophecy part, because here is Washington and here is Rome. Do you see any similarity here? Revelation.
Where exactly is that in Rome?
This is St. Peter's Square.
Okay.
So Vatican, Rome, right here. Notice the dome, the pregnant belly on both these, and the erect phallic obelisk here.
Okay, I'm just noticing this, but is the St. Petersburg dome right there, is that also a blue flame on top of it?
It looks like it could be. I'm not sure.
So that'll come up later. That's very telling.
Very interesting. So notice it says image of the beast here, because what is an image? An image is a mirror image or replica of something else. If Rome is in fact the first beast of Revelation, which I believe 100% it is, just like the majority of Christians long ago in the past, they recognize that Papal Rome was the first beast of Revelation, and then a second beast comes up, and it makes an image to the first beast. America made an image to Rome, and here it is in Revelation 13, 11 through 15. It says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth. The first beast came out of the waters, which represented many peoples. This second beast is coming out of the dry earth, which represents a not so populated area. When the people came here to America, there were some natives, but that was it. This beast or nation had two horns like a lamb. Lamb represents Christ, a Christian type nation, right? But it speaks as a dragon, meaning its laws and the way that this nation speaks is a dragon, which is Satan.
And when it says like, that means, kind of like a counterfeit, a facade.
I have horns like a lamb, not lamb horns, but like a lamb.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a lamb.
Yeah. And he, meaning the second beast, America, exercises all the power of the first beast, Rome, before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, Rome. So you have the second beast, America, causing the whole world to worship the first beast, because America is the false prophet. A prophet points people to worship a certain person. So this second beast, the false prophet, America, is pointing the whole world to worship Rome, the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed because Rome did fall, but then it had a resurrection, right? Obviously, the Pope is at the United Nations. All our world leaders go to visit the Pope. Just look it up. The presidents, every president goes to visit the Pope. Why? Whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven and the earth in the sight of men, and deceive them that dwell in the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell in the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. This is the image of the beast, that the first beast, the second beast made an image of the first beast. And he had power to give life unto the image. That's why we have a living nation here. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast would be killed, should be killed. So there's going to be a time when forced worship is going to happen in America. And we already have blue laws in this country. It's on the books for every state. Some states actually enforce it. Georgia, you used to not be able to buy beer on Sunday. Poland and Germany, these people already are under blue law, where you cannot buy or sell on Sunday, the venerable day of the sun. There's coming a time where America is going to enforce a system of worship by law. If you do not worship the way this system says to, you will be killed.
Yeah.
If you worship, if you believe in the system, then you've taken the mark in your head, in your mind. If you don't believe it, but you just do it because, well, I want to preserve my life or save my family's life, you've taken the mark in your hand by the works of your hands. So you can take the mark of the beast either in your forehead or in your hand, but the seal of God is only in our mind. It's our beliefs. We're not, we're not judged according to our works. We're judged according to what we believe, but our beliefs will spill out into our works. If you're a true believer, you will have fruit. You will know them by their fruit, not because I say I'm a Christian or I have a Bible. You'll know them by their fruit. So we have to be sealed in these last days. We have to know what is coming prophetically. There's a lot of people that think we're going to be raptured out of here before the stuff hits the fan, and it's not true. We're going to be here for a mark of the beast. It's the whole mark of the beast deception is for Christians. Yeah. The lost world's already lost. If Christ raptured the whole world, you have nothing but a world of lost people. There's no need for a mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is against Christians. It says that the beast will have power to overcome, to overcome the saints. And it's going to be those saints that are standing on thus saith the Lord. And we will not conform. We will not conform to a forced system of worship that goes against the commandments of God. And this is where things are going. All roads lead to Rome. So on the ceiling, there was this interesting picture.
Which I will point out just real quick. This is one of the first images that we actually see of a full-grown angel.
Yeah, because there was a lot of baby cherub angels too.
But in the middle of this, when they actually showcased an image, it was usually a goddess or a god. Now all of a sudden you have like a messenger of some message.
Yeah. But what is the symbol? You have this sun motif. Again, everything is about a sun. And IHS. A lot of people will say, isn't that a Christian, symbol? I see that in Catholic churches. I even see it in maybe some Methodist churches or Lutheran churches. It's not a Christian symbol. Why would it be on the sun? Well, there's a good answer for that. Because the letters I is for Isis, H for Horus, and S for Set. These are national. This is Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica, and it says the priest of Heliopolis, which Helio is the sun, followers of the sun god, developed the myth of Isis. So Isis is about sun worship. Then you got Horus, again, Horus in ancient Egypt religion, a god in the form of a falcon whose right eye was the sun, or the morning star, which is Lucifer. So we have sun worship, and Set. He was equal to the hawk god Horus, which is the sun god. So IHS is not anything Christian, but it's the pagan trinity of Isis, Horus, Set, and it's right here on the sun symbol, just like you would expect. Mm-hmm. And then this is the image that Aubrey was talking about with these pan gods over here. There's one on either side that the other one's covered up.
Yes. So overlaying the cross with Christ supposedly on it, over the double-breasted, headed eagle, it was supposed to be considered something much better. So I just thought that was interesting because I've heard of that by many other Christians. They gave that reasoning supposedly to me. And I hope by now that you are seeing how many wreaths are involved here, or, half wreaths and so on, because we will see much more
There are a lot of wreaths. I actually didn't get a chance to include that video, but you'll see them everywhere. Okay, so this is literally the first Christian symbol I saw in the entire building. I mean, we had this one, which, it's not Christian. There's a cross on there. This is the first Christian symbol I saw, and he's being dwarfed by these giant double-headed phoenix.
Which look more like dragons.
They do, and I've seen these in the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. Why? Because Catholicism, Freemasonry, all of it goes hand in hand. This is a Freemason symbol. Mm-hmm. Notice this says Scottish Rite MJ. Scottish Rite NMJ. I think it was like New Jersey or something. So it says the origin of the symbol. The double-headed eagle symbol existed long before the birth of Scottish Rite. Theories have circulated that the emblem must have originated as far back as ancient Mesopotamia. Was that a Christian nation?
No, that's what Babylon became.
Yeah. So again, Babylon, which became Rome, which became Greek. When you know the prophecies of the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon was conquered by Greece. And that's why, the Medes and the Persians and then Greece. But basically, Babylon became Rome. Rome became Greece. Mm-hmm. And I believe now Rome and all these pagan nations are America, as well as Rome, Vatican. Says, so basically, I just wanted to show you that this symbol has been around for a long time, and it has nothing to do with Christianity. Here it says the double-headed eagle on the city gate in Alek Hoyok, Turkey. I can't read that. But also, I'm going to show you back to the picture that we started off in one of the first few slides from MasonicVibe.com. This is a Freemason symbol. So when you see this, or the sun, or an all-seeing eye in the Catholic Church, no, it's not the eyeball of Yahweh looking in. No, it's not. I don't even know what they claim to say that this double-headed phoenix represents. And we shouldn't have a symbol of the sun everywhere, all over the place in our church. There's many verses against sun worship in the Bible. Sun motifs everywhere. I thought this was a video.
So there is sun symbolism everywhere around here. This is the rising sun on the pillars between the sidewalk to get to the Capitol.
So sun's there. We got sun logos here. If you don't know, the swastika is an ancient symbol of the rising sun. And this pattern all the way around the middle of the ceiling windows has swastikas everywhere. Not just there, but also in the tile in the floor. Mm-hmm. Here I am pointing out the symbol of the sun, the swastika. You see a lot of other interesting symbols. There's a sun. Here's some more swastikas hidden everywhere in the patterns of this building. There's another Ouroboros. And so, just to let you know, from Britannica, the encyclopedia, underlined here, it says the swastika was the sign for the god Thor's hammer. This was Thor's hammer, another Greek mythological god, again, in our nation's capital. And it says the Hindus and also Jainas use the swastika to mark the opening pages of their account books. I'm just going to skip to where it says right here, a solar symbol. The right hand swastika is considered a solar symbol and imitates the rotation of its arms, the course taken daily by the sun. I think it's very interesting that they say that the sun has a course.
What is the left-handed one? I'm just curious.
That's probably the Nazi symbol. Or does it say? Oh, the left-handed symbol, left-handed swastika more often stands for night, the terrifying goddess Kali, and magical practices. So it's an occult, pagan, Wicca.
You could probably go check, but I'm sure that usually it's the sun as the main male god.
Oh, yeah.
And then the moon.
Right.
As the goddess.
The moon goddess.
And I'm thinking that they're venerating that. One is the sun, and then when it's flipped to the left hand, it is the moon.
Wow. Yeah.
And the night.
And there's verses all about not worshiping the sun and the moon. Mm-hmm. Here we have more. Here we have the sun motif in the center, and all around the edges are the zodiac symbols. Actually, the tour guide lady just told me that this flower is a filler between each zodiac symbol. So you have Cancer, the crab, we have the Gemini. I can't remember what these zodiac symbols are. You do see the zodiac symbols though. Pisces. So, we have the sun in the middle. We have all these, this isn't just like sun and stars. This is astrology. Here's just a better picture of all the astrology around the sun.
That's the main room that you walk into before getting to the side balconies that lead to different areas and branches of their respective being memorialized, certain areas that show everything's being memorialized.
That is a very good point. It's like the whole building was built around the sun.
Yeah.
And zodiac symbols. So again, Britannica, I'm only going to show you sources that are secular sources. I'm not going to show you Alex Jones and anything Bible related. But Britannica, it says the zodiac was divided into 12 astrological signs, each occupying 1/12 or 30 degrees of its great circle by the Babylonians. Again, how does everything keep coming back to Babylon? Mm-hmm. About 500 BCE, many of the Babylonian signs, for example, the twins, Gemini, the crab, Cancer, the balance, Libra, among others, are still used today. Since most of the constellations through which the ecliptic passes represent animals, the ancient Greeks called its zone, Zodiacos, Kyklos, circle of animals, or Ta Zodia, the little animals. The Chinese zodiac system similarly involves a cycle of animals. However, so basically, the zodiac is astrology.
Yeah.
The Bible condemns astrology, says stay far away from it. Mm-hmm. And yet here it is in our Christian nation's capital. There's nothing Christian about this nation.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about sun worship. This does come from a Bible source, Bible Gateway. And it says sun worship. Sun worship is ancient in the practice of men. Evidences of sun worship are seen in many cultures, including India, Greece, the Mayas, the Incas, and of Central and South America. Of particular significance is the practice as seen in both ancient Babylonia and Egypt. Now it's starting to make sense. Why we have so much Egyptian and Babylonian symbols in the nation's capital, because it's all about this sun worship. In Babylonia and Assyria, special sites such as Saqqara. Actually, I don't have to read all this. This is just to prove that sun worship was forbidden. You can see right down here where it says, in Scripture, the practice was clearly forbidden. Worship of the sun and sun images. What do we have in the nation's capital? Sun images everywhere are both proscribed by God's law. Proscribed.
Proscribed. That is interesting.
Not sure why that word is used, but God warns that he will destroy the sun images and destroy the worshipers. The penalty for sun worship was death by stoning if there were 2 or 3 witnesses. Look, this was so idolatrous, such an abomination that God said sun worshipers must be stoned to death. And we're building entire nation's capital around sun worship, Babylon's, Egypt, the obelisk, the sun motifs.
Circles and sun discs to actually see these motions of the sun in the seasons, to be able to keep the holidays and cast the spells and worship the sun and its
Astrology,
arrangement.
pentagrams.
With equinoxes and solstices. Yes, they are putting everything out there to practice the occult.
Yep.
Heavily.
Wow. So we've seen one symbol of Jesus on the cross. So far, that's been eclipsed by all the pagan and satanic images. Now, what's interesting about this door handle?
Well, so I hope that you guys tuned in to one of my other episodes that I did.
Mm-hmm.
It was, what was that one called again? It was on the Anunnaki and what the pine cone represents. It has a huge symbolism here.
Was that not in the holidays?
I believe that it was.
Or
But
it might have been, yeah, it was in the holidays.
it's been a little while and I've been working on a lot of research. So forgive me for that. But the pine cone has huge significance, in which I guess it's weird. Why would you put a pine cone on the end of a door?
Yep.
Clearly not on the very bottom of it, but on the top of the handle. And there's this interesting part. It basically is fertility. It recognizes many other things, which I hope we have pictures of, because we'll be getting a little deeper into it.
Yeah. So basically, this is a staff with a pine cone on top of it. And this goes back to ancient times. This was an AI overview, which, say what you want to say about AI. I Googled this, and it's looking at every source. You see these links to all these different sources. And it's saying pine cones have been used as symbols in many ancient mythologies and cultures, representing a variety of concepts, including enlightenment and transition. That is the serpent's first lie. Eat this fruit and you'll be wise. Your eyes will be open. You'll be like God. You're going to transition. You're going to evolve into godlyhood. In Egyptian mythology, the pine cone symbolizes the moment between life and death, when the soul is guided to the underworld. The third eye in Hinduism and Buddhism. It's fertility in Rome. It's immortality and eternal life. It's resurrection and regeneration. Look, we believe in eternal life as well, but it comes from Christ, not pine cones. Awakening. Pine cones are associated with awakening. Why? Because you're opening that third eye. The goddess of love, Venus. Pine cones are associated with the goddess of love, Venus.
Did you read the fertility one?
Fertility in Rome. The pine cone was a pagan symbol of fertility associated with the god Baal. Oh my. And the goddess Cybele. So we're going to look at some of these, because this comes from Babylon, the Babylonian gods of the Anunnaki.
Yes.
And we see that they have, what is this tree called?
This is called the Babylonian tree, the Merry tree, by the way, which we get Christmas, the Merry Christmas from.
And the tree of life, they call it, which that's a Kabbalist. This is going from Babylon to Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism.
Yes. And then you have, these are said to be the collaborating group of gods that made the entire world. Yeah. Humankind, basically. And that tree is set with pine cones, supposedly full of test tubes of humankind, ready to be not harvested, but conceived, if you will.
Yep.
And they're being handed to them by usually a little more strange looking, this guy with
Kinda
the
angelic
wings.
with wings.
Yes. Because
Fallen angels.
they're fallen angels. They usually have a more angular face. It looks a little bit reptilian, because I did believe that their gods were guided by a higher being that were usually reptilian in nature, and would hand the pine cones to the rulers at that time in history to govern the whole world. They were handed the pine cones and all the power. So someone asked, how can this be that our government is not Christian? Can it be demonic? Well, I'm not saying the people are reptilian, but usually the more, I can just attest to this, usually the more demonic that you are, you start getting this look.
Yeah.
And they've talked about this actually very recently, where you start having like this really weird, I don't know, do you want to explain what that look is? It is...
Well, I went down the rabbit hole in 2012 when God opened my eyes about all this stuff, about Illuminati and things like that. And I started looking into reptilians and things like that. And I would see politicians and celebrities and stuff. And you slow-mo on these people, and their eyes, their pupils literally turn to slits. I seen a guy in another country who was eating glass. And his eyes were slits. I don't believe in lizard people. I don't believe that Anunnaki from another planet are coming here disguising themselves as humans. I believe when you open yourself up to the demonic world, you messing around with sorcery, sun worship, pagan idolatry, all these things, you are inviting your temple, your body, to be
inhabited,
possessed by demons. And
correct.
You will start to see those things, those demeanors, those features will start to come out. And I believe that's the kind of stuff that we're seeing. And if you watch History Channel, they're all about pushing that we were seeded here by the Anunnaki, the aliens.
So just to reference this real quick, not to interrupt, but this actually came from my my show on androgyny. I covered the entire origins of the Anunnaki, how it worked, what they were said to have done, the origins that they believed in, the Gnostic origins of life, and so on. And so you can go look at that there, and it'll be really helpful for you to understand really that background, that knowledge that we're talking about, that I don't have to overview again.
That video is getting a lot of hits right now. It's actually in our top 10, and I've never seen anybody else cover that topic.
No.
Very in-depth. Check it out. You'll have your mind blown. This whole androgyny, gender bending, fluid, non-binary, all this stuff is nothing new. We're not doing anything new. This all originates back to false god worship and, again, enlightenment. It's all about becoming a monk, becoming a eunuch. When you become non-binary, you're supposed to be the highest level of enlightenment as you can ever reach, and that's why they practice these things. So we see the pine cone. Clearly, there's an up-close picture of it. This is a search that was for, the Greek
pine cone staff.
Greek pine cone staff.
Or magic wand.
Yep. And so you see it over and over. These are, this one has the caduceus, the serpents on either side. This one, you see this huge staff. This is a magic wand. This is Greek sorcery that we see. That's what this pine cone is all about. Remember, the handle looked just like this, right? It was a staff with a pine cone on the top, a pine cone on the bottom. And where do we see this at? Well, again, Rome, which is all about sun worship and came out of Roman paganism. He still carries the staff. These are wax figures because these guys have passed away. But you see the pine cone on the staff, the pine cone on the staff. Even Pope Francis has the pine cone on the staff. Why? Why a pine cone? Why does the Vatican have the world's largest pine cone in the world? The entire world is right there at the Vatican. You can look this stuff up. This is official websites. This is not AI. This is not Photoshop. It's not conspiracy theory. This is just facts. We're just giving you the candid truth here. So there was a part in the library. When you go in the library, you'll look up on the ceiling and you'll see, I think it's 12. It says the 12 large figures painted. This was a sign right outside the door telling you what you're going to be seeing. We did get video of it, but it's just, we're trying to shorten as much as we can. I think it's interesting that they picked this image because you have the Pharaoh with angel wings and it says Egypt. And it said, Egypt. Why Egypt?
Well, it looks kind of like the gods of the Anunnaki that were handing the pine cone to the rulers of the world at the time.
Exactly. And it says the 12 large figures, which I think is a counterfeit of 12 disciples and just the number 12 in the Bible. Mm-hmm. The 12 large figures painted under the dome represent different countries or regions of the world and a late 19th century view of their important contributions to Western civilization. Please tell me, what important contributions did Babylon, Greece, Egypt, what important contributions did they make to America except our architecture, our obelisks and domes and sun motifs and zodiacs and pine cones? There's nothing important about these things except that they are blatant idolatry, blatant pagan worship, and blatant images that are put in place of God. Oh, this is very interesting. Check this out.
So you gotta see this. This is the most occult place I've ever stepped foot in. Look at this. The true Shekinah is man. When the Bible talks about the Shekinah glory, it's the glory of God. And they're saying that man is the true Shekinah glory. And now look, you got the hat, you got the Freemason logo right there with Pan, playing the pan flute on the left and the trumpet on the right. This is insane. This is crazy.
If you don't know who Pan is, he is a Greek god of sexual deviance. He was the product of an orgy. There's nothing good about Pan at all. It's where we get the story Peter Pan. They're both playing the pan pipes. They're, he's going up to Wendy's window. Come on, Wendy, come with me, and I'll take you to where the Lost Boys are, and you can never come back in this never land. He's a sexual deviant. Mm-hmm. Why do we have Pan right above this this quote that says man is the Shekinah, the true Shekinah is man?
I don't know, but I do know that I was just going to add that Pan is not just of sex and orgies, but rape usually.
Yep.
And sexual deviance, bestiality, as well as rage, anger, and killing.
Yeah. Horrible. Why would you memorialize these figures on the capital of a Christian nation?
I don't know.
No. It's not Christian. That's why. That's why we're presenting this to you, because we're unveiling the deception of the enemy that this is a Christian nation, that this was founded on Christianity. It's not. This is what the Shekinah glory was about, because the word Shekinah glory is not in the Bible, but we see that it's a transliteration of the Hebrew word meaning the one who dwells, or that which dwells, and was used to describe the light on the mercy seat of the Ark of the Covenant in the Holy of Holies. The Shekinah symbolizing the divine presence. Shekinah is not found in Scripture, but the root word shekan, to dwell, the settling down, to tabernacle with, to have habitation, and the related word mishkan, tabernacle, are both frequently used, and both are associated with the presence of God and His glory dwelling with man. So when you see a quote that says the true Shekinah is man, that is the utmost form of blasphemy. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to say anything as anti-Christian as it gets, is saying that man is as high as God. That was what Lucifer said. Mm-hmm. I will rise above the heights of the clouds. I will set my throne in the heights of the stars. Here's some interesting quotes, some more very humanistic logic here. And it says, the first creature of God was the light of sense. The last was the light of reason.
Yeah, and it's interesting because if you possibly go back maybe and look through what we've presented, you'll not only realize wreaths everywhere, but this lamp like a genie would have, that a genie comes out of, I mean.
Yep.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And to say that and your senses is the first creature that God made, I don't know. We're going to get there, I guess. But their truth, their reasoning, their knowledge that they want you to have and that they're setting up is quite different than you'd think.
Yeah, reason. I mean, this is the age of reason, quote unquote. The age of reason is when France was stomping Bibles in the streets, and they were saying, we're freeing ourselves from God and all of this. And that was what was called the age of reason. Then over here you see the web of life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together.
Gnosticism again, good and bad, chaos and order.
Yin yang.
All creates this balance of the universe that is God.
A balance of good and evil. Let me tell you.
And through balancing that within yourself, supposedly in your decisions and your habits, you supposedly create God within you.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
And so, as believers, we're told that there is supposed to be no darkness in us. Light cannot mix with darkness, but the yin-yang philosophy as well, as long as you have a balance of good and evil. Everyone needs a little bit of evil. Sometimes you got to lie, right? Sometimes you got to tell a white lie to not hurt somebody's feelings or whatever, as long as there's a balance of good and evil. So there's something on top of this dome out here, and it is actually a golden flame. If you back it up, you'll see closer. This is a golden flame. And we're going to see why is that so interesting or important, because these flames are everywhere, all throughout this building. You'll see these flames, these cherubim. There's the word Moses. I don't know why he ended up there, because nothing else is Christian in any way, but you have Moses right up there with Newton.
And this is the Library of Congress when you get in there.
Yep.
That's exactly what you see. Again, all these statues of men, the great men of the world who have contributed to building this agenda.
Yep. Demons in the Whitehouse, like Constance just said. So the flame. What's up with the flame?
Oh, wow. This is a lot of history, again, that I will cover it, but I covered it already.
In the Olympics episode.
Yes, the dark origins, basically, of... I think it was just the origins of the Olympics, but this came from a Roman goddess named Vesta, and in her temples, you would have, first of all, she governed hearths, so basically your fireplace and warmth of the home. Temples conserved the city's sacred flame, symbolic life force of the entire Roman state. And as I researched this,
again, Rome.
You would have Vestal virgins. I believe it's about 16 of them that were picked out from good breed of families of noblemen. The prettiest is usually around the age of 16 as well, by the way. And they would go ahead and choose these women to be brought into the temples to serve the priests and serve God. They were said to be the bridegroom of Christ. And
in
Rome. And they would dress in the way that you see that here in that picture. So I'll just read it. In ancient Rome, the Vestal Virgins, or Vestals, were priestesses of Vesta, virgin goddess of Rome's sacred hearth and its flame. The Vestals were unlike any other public priesthood. So why they're saying public? Because they could go to gladiator events. They could go get into the spectator sports of the day or the circuses, and they could sit in the front row like the celebrities do today, or actors and superstars. And they held a very interesting position in Roman society because their chastity was a vow that they had to take, and it all depended on, this chastity depended on the success, victory, fertility, and I guess all good things of the state. And if you lost your virginity, you were said to be, well, for one, you totally had given everything away. You had ruined everything for your life.
Everything's your fault.
And everything. The lack of harvest, the pestilence,
Wow.
the famines, the armies coming to attack, the lack of spiritual dedication in the temples, everything. Just any and everything was supposed to be your fault. And they would actually go through all of the 16 and like question them and investigate which one had done such a thing that they can go ahead and accuse. And that one that had done that, if they became pregnant and they were found to be having that kind of relationship, they would actually be put in a hole underground with just enough food to get them through a week.
Wow.
And they were buried alive, basically. And that was supposed to be a kind way of doing that to them, of ending their life because they had sinned against God. But they tended this flame, a very specific flame, in the Vestal temples that we now know today usually as the flame of Lucifer. And it wasn't to go out at all. And they had to tend it 24/7. In fact, going to these games, I found pictures of them actually carrying a lantern in which they had the flame with them.
Wow.
And they had to guard it. That's also why we have the torches in the Olympic flame. Same thing.
Yeah.
And you have ambassadors, you have people
Well,
who are caretakers of the flame.
Those games were
From
a
the
ritual
temple.
to these gods.
Exactly. So this is where it comes from, you guys. And today, when we look at people that dress that way, you have women who are said to be the bridegroom of Christ and initiated into service of the church.
Yeah.
Just to break
Of
all
Rome.
the mystery of Rome. We still have this today.
Yeah.
And how do we know this? Because you can still see that. I personally like to point out that you can still see the caves and the tunnels that lead from the monasteries to the abbeys or convents where the nuns live today, and back in ancient history where these Vestal virgins, that's what they were called back then,
Now we call them nuns.
they conceived all the time, and they had to kill the babies, and they had to create a cemetery in these tunnels. They did that back then, and they're doing it now today. Vestal virgins are nothing more than nuns in our day and age.
Wow.
And they are used by the priests to carry out these rituals, satanic rituals of fertility to the gods every year.
Wow. It's crazy that it literally says right here, and it's they're virgins of Rome and for a priesthood. Where the Roman Catholic Church still has these virgin nuns. Same thing.
And just so I can back that up real quick, you can go look this up. There are testimonies of nuns who made it out of the order with their life. Many of them don't, and others are completely traumatized by the satanic ritual abuse they went through, but they can testify to all of it. And so they clearly make it known that this is a satanic order. All those things are happening to them. They're raped. They're molested all the time by the priests. The male monastery and order that also takes the vow of chastity.
So speaking of the torch, I mean, this isn't in Washington, but we do have the Statue of Liberty, which is a symbol of our nation, which came from France, the place that stomped Bibles in the streets because of the Age of Reason. And this comes straight from statueoflibertytour.com. These are not conspiracy websites. The torch and crown. You want to read that?
Yes. Her torch was added to represent progress, giving the statue a more peaceful appearance rather than invoking violence. Oh, they say read our article. But around her head, the crown's 7 rays form a halo representing the sun, the 7 seas, and the 7 continents. It also evokes the official title of the statue, Liberty Enlightening the World.
So what is this picture here? It says recycled design.
Oh my. It's not the Statue of Liberty, which one would think, because it has all of the elements, the halo, I guess. It has the flame, but this is actually what we know of. It's Helios, the god Helios.
Which is the sun god. Again, our nation.
The son of sons and the king of kings, which is said to be the god of gods.
Wow. And we still revolve around sun worship.
In mythology, by the way.
Yeah. And so, here, I mean, it literally, if you look at the Statue of Liberty, she doesn't look feminine at all. Actually, when I was a kid, I asked my parents, who is that guy? And they chuckled and said, Guy, that's a woman. That's Lady Liberty. And I was like, I thought it was a guy wearing a toga.
Just because he covered up his nakedness from one picture to the other does not make him a different gender.
Right. I mean, you literally see that he took off the robe, and this is Helios, showing that he is very much a man. But the face looks very familiar. It looks very similar to this painting.
Which is said to be Satan summoning his legions right by the one who made the painting.
Yeah, I mean, this is just observation, simple observation. If I asked you, does this face look like this face? You'd probably say, yeah. And then I'd be like, oh, well, that's Satan. It's a painting of Satan there. Also, Lady Liberty, if you didn't know, she has some broken chains on her feet. A lot of people might say, oh, that's, representing freedom. We're breaking from the chains of slavery. But that's interesting because we had slavery in America, so it can't represent that. I don't know. Maybe it depends on when we got this statue. I don't know the history of that. But these broken chains look familiar as well, because there is a statue of Lucifer with these same elements.
It's called The Genius of Evil by the guy down below. And he also has the chain on him. He also has, ironically, kind of like a Wolverine looking foot with toenails that are unkempt, and an apple that's been bit out of, and a scepter that's broken, the top of the scepter. The scepter is in his hand, if you look at it, and a crown, which is missing some of its horns, or whatever you want to call it, its balls in there. And so...
How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect match to the Statue of Liberty. So the Statue of Liberty Tour.com continues.
Yes, it says, while the Statue of Liberty is undoubtedly Bartholdi's most famous work, he was very well known for another project, a statue that was never actually built. Years after he began the Statue of Liberty, Bartholdi was hired to design a statue planned for the entrance to the Suez Canal in Egypt. Interesting. His research led him into ancient, giant Egyptian statues and eventually to the Colossus of Rhodes. This ancient bronze statue was over 100 feet tall and considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The figure was placed at the harbor entrance to the Greek city of Rhodes, showing the god of the sun, Helios, carrying a light to guide ships. Does this sound familiar? Someone else from the Statue of Liberty tour is saying this, by the way.
Yep.
Ultimately, this led Bartholdi to design what became an early mock-up for the Statue of Liberty. Inspired by the Colossus, he created a robed Middle Eastern woman, a peasant, holding up a fiery torch. He called it Egypt Carrying the Light to Asia.
So, showing the god of the sun, Helios. This is the Statue of Liberty. Right here on Statue of Liberty Tour.com. This is not us putting together pieces that don't fit. We're being told from the horse's mouth who this is. So you see the comparisons. You see Helios and who's this?
Libertas. That's a goddess that was also known as another type of mock-up after Helios.
Okay, of the sun worship again.
Yeah.
So we know that sun worship is literally just Satan worship. And so you see that. Here's some more. Beautiful Aubrey here is going to point at an interesting symbol. Right here, this stuff is just everywhere.
Ooh.
What is that strange symbol? What is that pine cone?
Pine cone with 2 serpents and the wings. That's the caduceus.
So this is the caduceus logo. You got the serpents, the wings, the pine cone, which we already looked into that. And what is this symbol? What is this cross? This double-headed cross where the top rung is shorter than the bottom rung. It wasn't the only place we've seen it. We've seen another one right here with the pan satanic-looking character and this, subliminal Freemason compass here.
And the guy's name, by the way, which was Treshel.
Treshel, who's that?
I do not know. I didn't look it up, but this is his symbol and how he contributed in some way.
Well, what is this symbol? It's the Leviathan cross. And this is from Symbology Wiki, not a Christian website. It says also known as brimstone.
Just so you know, because someone asked in the comments, inside the White House, no, we are solely talking about the Library of Congress still. This is all the Library of Congress.
Yep. We didn't even get to go in a Whitehouse. There's no telling what's in there. So it says the brimstone symbol is sometimes referred to as the Leviathan cross. At the bottom, there is a luminous scale? Luminous gate? What is that word?
A luminous gate. The infinity sign.
The infinity sign, which is the Ouroboros. At the top, there is a double cross of Lorraine. In most renditions, the horizontal bars are graded, with the upper bar being shorter, though variations with the bars of equal length are also seen. The symbol has meanings in alchemy,
the occult,
and religion. So we've been seeing already the occult. We've been seeing alchemy. They're blatantly saying these things. We're not saying that. They are. It goes on to say the origin of the meaning. Being abundantly available in native form, sulfur was known in ancient times as is referred to in the Torah or Genesis. English translations of the Christian Bible commonly refer to burning sulfur as brimstone, giving rise to the term fire and brimstone sermons, in which listeners are reminded of the fate of eternal damnation that await the unbelieving and unrepentant. It is from this part of the Bible that hell is implied to smell like sulfur, likely due to its association with volcanic activity. It goes on and it says, in more modern contexts, particularly with certain strands of Satanism, the Leviathan cross is sometimes referred to as the Satanic cross and is used symbolically within those belief systems. This is literally in the Library of Congress. And both of these, you see in this video, you see right there in the ceiling, the Leviathan's cross. Right there with Pan. Where we get the idea of what Satan looks like. A false idea of what Satan looks like. And we have the caduceus right there. Why do we have the caduceus?
There's the caduceus. The caduceus. That's Hermes' staff, the protector of liars, thieves, and merchants.
So the caduceus is very interesting because it is the staff of Hermes, who is the Greek god, the guide of the dead, protectors of merchants, gamblers, liars, and thieves.
Oh, which I'm so sorry to say this if it's going to hit you hard, but mostly that's what we were seeing on the ceiling was all of these venerated, celebrated, memorialized merchants of olden days that actually helped establish this agenda of Freemasonry, Illuminati, and the occult into our government today, and gamblers, liars, and thieves. When you started looking at the names that are on the ceilings, that's what you found.
Yep. So that's what we have in the Library of Congress. We got the caduceus. And Revelation 18:4 says, I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of Babylon. Babylon's fallen generations ago. Why is Revelation telling us to come out of her? Come out of Babylon, my people, so that you do not participate in her sins and suffer from any of her plagues. Look, this is just proving that prophecy is true. Prophecy is being fulfilled right before our very eyes. We are living in Babylon. The Vatican is Babylon number 1, and we're the image of the beast, Babylon number 2. It's going hand in hand. If you go to Hollywood, they even have a plaque that says the gates of Babylon. We, as America, as a nation, are speaking as a dragon. We put up a front that we're a Christian nation, but that's the biggest deception in human history. At least when you go to China, you know they worship the dragon. In America, you're so deceived that you think, no, this is a Christian nation. That's the biggest deception, because when Satan comes on the scene as the cosmic Christ, he's going to come when there's a time of great calamity that all the world is like, we need salvation. We need a savior because this world's gotten out of control. We live in a time when people don't know what gender they are. There's lawlessness abounds. There's more broken families and homes and marriages than ever before. Everything lawless is being celebrated, and that's when the time comes when the pendulum swings back, because right now we are far left, as far left as you can get. Now the pendulum is going to swing far right, and it's going to be like, look, this country needs to get back to God. This country fell apart because we stopped having prayer in school, we stopped reading the Bible, and this country needs to get back to God. And that's the perfect timing for Satan to come out as the cosmic Christ, and he's going to be doing lying signs and wonders, and many are going to be deceived through these miracles, miracle working signs, miracle working demons. In Revelation 18:23 it says, "And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants," remember that symbol, the protector of liars, merchants, and thieves, "for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived." That symbol, the caduceus symbol that is in that Library of Congress, is a symbol of protectors of liars, merchants, and thieves. They believe in all this symbology that if we put the pentagram pointing right at the White House, we'll have protection from evil and we can cast spells. If we put the caduceus on the ceiling, then we'll be protected because we are liars and thieves and merchants. And it's sorcery. That's what all this is about. That's why it said, alchemy was in there. That's why it had, it didn't say science. It said, what did it say? It said science or something, chemistry, and it showed the woman with the serpent. We saw the people that were at the tree with the serpent, and they were saying that all this is about knowledge. It's about humanism, that man is the Shekinah glory. All these satanic humanistic things. Pharmakia literally means the use of medicine, drugs, or spells. The use of medicine, drugs, or spells. Idolatry. There was tons of idolatry, sorcery, and witchcraft all up in our nation's capital.
And you really don't get to the head of state. You don't get to the big wigs making all the money in this world.
Yep.
You don't get anywhere in this world, usually, without worshiping all of these elements, the symbols, the idolatry, witchcraft, partaking of pharmakia heavily.
Yeah.
When you do so, you get privileged by Satan, for one. But if you're a part of these secret societies, they give you extra privileges.
Yeah.
Monetarily, spiritually, politically, material gain. So everything. And so you can see that there in every single way.
And who goes to this big cremation ceremony of Moloch, the cremation of care? It's the presidents, it's the judges, it's the politicians and the police and all these people, the leaders of this world, the rulers of this world,
the great
the
men,
merchants
that have been memorialized in our history books and on the ceilings of our Capitol and the buildings. Exactly.
I want to go back to that. Look, the merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all the nations deceived. How many of us were deceived by these merchants that are casting spells over all of us, who make us feel like we're in a Christian nation, who make us feel like we can trust the science textbooks, that we came from nothing, that we probably need to be on a drug. My kid, he's a little hyperactive, just a little Adderall.
Or has anxiety over puberty, which is normal for everyone.
Yeah, if somebody's grieving because somebody in their family died, it's like, you know what, you probably need some antidepressants. Your child is only 5, but ADHD, no, they're an artist. Put them in a school where they can express themselves, where they can actually do what they're supposed to do instead of these indoctrination camps. So if you would like to support this ministry, you can do so by going to Cash App, Venmo, Zelle. If you go to candidtruth.org, there's a button there for donate. You can actually become a monthly donor on PayPal. We need that kind of support. Aubrey and I stepped away from a full-time check to trusting in God, doing what God has called us to do with this ministry. It takes a lot of research to do this stuff. I feel bad that we didn't get a video out sooner. We were visiting her family in Colorado, and that's when we did the video before this one, where she was showing all her handwritten research on this giant poster board. This is the type of hours and days of research. These presentations don't just put themselves together. We're not just scrolling through Google and typing stuff and saying, look at this website, look at this website. Like, we're trying to put this stuff together in a cohesive, coherent timeline where you can see the evidence in order. This is the sun. This is the obelisk. This is all pointing back to Babylon, which the Bible says, prophecy says that we need to come out of Babylon, that we're in the days of Babylon and Israel, spiritual Israel. And we need to be God's people.
We take time to make sure that it is from credible sources.
Yes.
It is not just from Wiki or Wikipedia or whatever.
Yep.
Those are our last resources usually. And when we try to find credible sources, we want it from the horse's mouth, either the occult, the government itself, whatever, the Statue of Liberty website, whatever it is. So it takes time for you not to just, most people don't even take the time to do the research for one, and then they don't even make sure to get several resources that all agree with them.
Yep.
So that you double check that you're not just making associations that aren't there.
And it's hard to find, a lot of these people don't openly say, like, yep, we're pagans, we're Satanists. I mean, you have to really dig on these websites to find it. Thankfully, Library of Congress was saying openly, yep, Zeus is out here, or Neptune is out here. And so we hope you guys were blessed by this. If you were thinking of somebody while you were watching this that really needs to see this, share it with them. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps to get this video in the algorithm. We are praying that this channel has been a blessing to you. We're trying to get out content as much as we can. We do a lot of traveling, speaking engagements. If you want us to come to your church, you can book us on candidtruth.org. We're somewhere away from home almost every other weekend, speaking engagements or visiting, even taking video in Washington, D.C. We didn't just show you pictures from Google. We were there, and we thank God that we ended up there the way it happened. We believe it was really a divine appointment. And so pray for us. Share this ministry. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to have a lot more videos like this about a lot of like pagan origins of things. We're going to be doing a video on alcohol next. What does the Bible say about it? What does science say about it? Should a Christian drink alcohol? Seems almost absurd to even ask the question, but in these days, a lot of people have been deceived about a lot of things that we do culturally. We partake in pagan holidays and intoxicating drinks and all these things. So we just want to say thank you. Remember, write in the comment section. Some of you guys have been writing it in the chat. Write in the comment section, demons in the White House, for one of these free hologram heads, or the truth will set you free, or they live parody guy. All this is the Brain Man logo, because remember, it's cool to use your brain. We'll see you next time on Candid Truth. We love you. God bless you guys, and keep us in your prayers. Good night, everybody.